The Man with the Twisted Lip is the seventh story in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, first published in 1891. The story begins when Dr. John Watson's wife, Mary, is visiting a friend in the poorer district of London. During her stay, she encounters a woman named Kate Whitney, who is upset and distressed because her husband, Neville St. Clair, has mysteriously disappeared. Kate tells Watson that her husband, a respected businessman and a loving father of 2 children, has been missing for several days, and she fears for his safety. She is particularly worried because Neville had been acting strangely before his disappearance, which makes her believe that something terrible has happened to him. Kate explains that Neville had been visiting a part of London that he would never normally frequent, a notorious district known for its opium dens and criminal activity. She is convinced that he must have fallen into some kind of trouble while there. Desperate, Kate seeks out Sherlock Holmes for help in solving the mystery of her husband's disappearance. Holmes listens to the case with great interest and begins his investigation. His first move is to visit the part of town where Neville had been seen, which is known for its vice. Holmes quickly learns that Neville had been in the habit of visiting a particular opium den in the area. This information strikes Holmes as highly suspicious, as Neville had a good reputation and would not typically engage with such a shady environment. Holmes begins to think that Neville's disappearance may not be as straightforward as it seems. Holmes continues his investigation by examining the people who frequented the area, including the beggars. One such beggar is particularly notable because of his appearance. He has a twisted lip, which immediately captures Holmes' attention. Holmes surmises that this beggar may hold the key to understanding Neville's disappearance. He realizes that the twisted lip could be a disguise, leading him to suspect that the beggar is not who he appears to be. Holmes theorizes that Neville St. Clair himself may be masquerading as this beggar, creating a false identity for himself and abandoning his former life. Holmes further investigates the beggar's activities and learns that the man with the twisted lip has been sitting in the opium den, begging for money from passers-by. Holmes believes that Neville had adopted this beggar persona as a way to escape from the responsibilities of his well-off life. The twisted lip is a key feature in the disguise, and Holmes starts to piece together that Neville had gone to great lengths to maintain this hidden identity. Eventually, Holmes and Watson track down the beggar and follow him to a nearby house. It is here that the mystery is finally unraveled. Holmes reveals that the beggar, with the twisted lip, is indeed Neville St. Clair. He had been living a secret double life, disguising himself as a beggar to escape from the pressures of his respectable existence. In his beggar persona, Neville had been collecting money from passers-by, living a life of anonymity in the shadows of London. Holmes explains that Neville had been feeling trapped in his life as a businessman and family man, burdened by the expectations placed on him. The escape to the opium den and the decision to take on the identity of the beggar were his way of coping with these pressures. He had faked his own disappearance, leaving his wife and children behind, and had been living as the beggar with the twisted lip for several days. The twist of the story is that Neville's disappearance was entirely self-imposed, a desperate attempt to escape his own life. When Holmes reveals Neville's secret to Kate, she is initially shocked and devastated. However, she eventually understands her husband's reasons for wanting to flee from his responsibilities. In the end, Neville returns to his family, and the case is closed, with Holmes once again solving a perplexing mystery through his keen observation and reasoning skills. The Man with the Twisted Lip is a fascinating exploration of identity, disguise, and personal dissatisfaction. It highlights how a seemingly straightforward case of a missing person can have a deeper, more complex explanation. Holmes' ability to see beyond the surface and recognize the true nature of the case is what allows him to uncover Neville's double life. The story also delves into the theme of escape, as Neville's decision to abandon his family and business in favor of a new, anonymous life shows the lengths to which some people will go to avoid the responsibilities and pressures they feel trapped by. Through his brilliant deduction and attention to detail, Holmes is able to solve the mystery and bring closure to the case.